Greetings, Darker Things enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode. Today, you get 2 for 1. Jodi Arias and Scott Peterson. One where almost certainly is a murderer, and the other one's guilt is in question. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Tonight, we delve into a story that gripped the nation, a tale of love turned lethal, the tragic saga of Jodi Arias. This isn't just a crime story, it's a deep dive into the human psyche, exploring how passion can sometimes lead to unspeakable acts. Jodi Ann Arias was born in Salinas, California in 1980. Growing up, she had what many would consider a typical childhood, but beneath the surface, there were complexities. Jodi's friends described her as shy yet artistic, a girl with a passion for photography. However, like many tales with dark turns, Jodi's early life hinted at the turmoil to come. As a teenager, Jodi's world expanded, but so did her struggles. She dropped out of high school in her junior year, seeking independence, yet she found herself grappling with the challenges of early adulthood. It was during this time that Jodi's path took a fateful turn, leading her into the arms of Travis Alexander. Travis was a motivational speaker, charismatic and well-liked, the very opposite of Jodi's quiet reserve. Their relationship was intense, a whirlwind of emotions, but it was fraught with turbulence. On and off, passionate yet toxic, it was a love story doomed from the start. On June 4th, 2008, Travis Alexander was found brutally murdered in his Mesa, Arizona home. It was a scene that shook even seasoned investigators, a young life cut short in the most violent manner. And at the heart of this tragedy was Jodi Arias.
I don't see any remorse. I know you're afraid. But you're already going through it right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It's already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
If I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences. I'm not really for things like, I'm all for the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. Okay? Just can't. I didn't kill Travis. I just didn't. I did not take his life.
And we can just let that judge and the jury decide. We can leave it in the hands of the jury.
Take your test.
We can do that, that's fine.
Would that help me at all?
I mean, you can't use a record, but
Well, then there's no point in taking it.
I took a knife to him and couldn't stop. Couldn't stop. And before you knew it, it was all over. And then you panicked. And then
I've never been that angry at him. Not enough for that. I've been so far angrier at other people, at other ex-boyfriends.
Then tell me who could have done this. Who did this?
I don't know, but if I go to trial for this, and if I'm convicted for this, whoever did this is going to be sitting very pretty somewhere. Glad that it wasn't them.
And it's my job to make sure that an innocent person does not go to jail. But I don't see an innocent person sitting in front of me.
Travis has done a lot for me, and I wouldn't hurt him. He introduced the gospel to me.
Why is everybody saying that you are capable of hurting him? Everybody says it.
I don't know why anyone
So don't
thinks
tell
I'm
me that
capable.
you're not capable.
I don't even hurt spiders. I kicked a dog once. I was a freshman in high school. And I love animals. And we had this dog, his name was Doggy Boy, and my parents.
What you need to do is you need to apologize to Travis. But you just refuse.
Listen,
I can't help you anymore if you're not gonna help yourself.
you asked me prior
I can't.
if I did anything that had anything to do with his death in any way.
It's not if to me.
I wouldn't.
It's not if. It's not if at all.
Well, to me it is. I would be more than remorseful.
Is it maybe something you're blocking out of your head?
I don't think so. I mean, I tend to write everything down. I tend to I just finished the book, The Road Less Traveled, and he said, the true definition of sanity is dedication to reality at all costs.
Well, this is definitely reality. We are sitting here inside of an office, the sheriff's department, and you are facing first-degree murder charges.
What is the
And you
difference?
are going to be booked into jail, and eventually you will be brought back to Arizona, and you will stand trial. That's the reality. And once you realize that, I think you'll be better for it.
I've had worse issues with other people. They're all still alive. I'm still friends with my ex-boyfriends. They're all still alive.
You know, I've been doing this a long time. And there's one thing that I can never get out of my head. Ever since the first day I talked to you. There's an old saying that, you know, someone's just not acting right. Look into it. You have not acted right from day one.
The investigation quickly zeroed in on Jodi, and it wasn't long before the evidence began to mount against her. Bloody fingerprints, DNA, and chilling photographs left little doubt of her involvement. Yet, it was during her interrogation that the world saw the many faces of Jodi Arias. Calm one moment, tearful the next, she spun a web of lies that eventually collapsed under the weight of the truth. What drives someone to such extremes? Was it jealousy, obsession, or something deeper? Psychologists have pondered Jodi's psyche, suggesting factors like borderline personality disorder might have played a role. Her tumultuous relationship with Travis, the push and pull of their love, likely fueled a volatile mix of emotions. Socioeconomic pressures, the need for acceptance, and a deep-seated fear of abandonment might have contributed to this tragic outcome. The trial of Jodi Arias was a media spectacle, a narrative filled with twists and turns. Convicted of first-degree murder, her sentencing was a moment of reckoning. Yet, even behind bars, Jodi's story is one of conflict and controversy, her actions scrutinized, her motives debated. Incarceration brought its own set of trials for Arias. Reports of disciplinary actions, attempts to maintain public attention through art and managed social media, and ongoing legal battles mark her days. The challenges of prison life, coupled with the mental toll of her actions and the relentless spotlight, continue to define her existence. Life behind bars is a stark contrast to the freedom Arias once knew. The confines of her cell are a daily reminder of the consequences of her actions. Yet it's within these confines that the battle for redemption, understanding, and perhaps forgiveness is fought. The tale of Jodi Arias is a dark reminder of the depths to which human emotions can plummet. It's a story of love, loss, and the devastating consequences of actions driven by passion turned poisonous. In the end, 2 families were shattered, and 2 lives were irrevocably changed. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the darker things. We would like to remind you to look beyond the surface because the truth is often hidden in the shadows. Stay safe and keep questioning the world around you. This has been Don Pleasant signing off. Now with our story on Scott Peterson, here is Tabitha Crane.
Thank you, Don. Now we delve into a case that has divided public opinion and sparked debate across the nation, the Scott Peterson case. But we're taking a path less traveled, exploring the compelling arguments for Scott Peterson's innocence. Join me as we unravel this complex story. In 2004, Scott Peterson was sentenced to death, a verdict based on circumstantial evidence, his extramarital affair, and his seemingly cold demeanor. But was justice truly served? We'll dissect the evidence that led to his conviction. Supporters of Scott Peterson argue that the evidence against him was flawed and that he was wrongfully convicted. From questioning the forensic evidence to highlighting alibi and timeline discrepancies, we'll examine the key points that suggest another side to the story. The timeline of Lacey's disappearance is a critical aspect of Scott's defense. We'll delve into the inconsistencies and how they might support Scott's claim of innocence. The disappearance of Lacey Peterson on Christmas Eve 2002 and the subsequent discovery of her body months later was a tragedy that captured the heart of America. Her husband, Scott Peterson, was thrust into the spotlight, not as a grieving husband, but as the prime suspect. Convicted and sentenced, Scott's story is far from over. Today, we examine the case from a different angle, questioning the evidence that led to his conviction. Before the accusations, Scott Peterson, lived an ordinary life in Modesto, California. Married to Lacey with a child on the way, they were the picture of an upcoming family. However, behind the facade of marital bliss were secrets and affairs that would come to light following Lacey's disappearance. Yet, understanding Scott is crucial in dissecting the case's complexities. In 2004, Scott Peterson was convicted of the murder of his wife and unborn son. The conviction hinged on circumstantial evidence: his affair, behavior, and notably, his presence at the Berkeley Marina the day Lacey disappeared. But without direct forensic evidence linking Scott to the crime, doubts about his guilt persist. Advocates for Scott's innocence point to a myriad of issues, from the alibi and timeline discrepancies to questionable forensic evidence. They argue the case against Scott was built on speculation and media-fueled bias, rather than solid evidence. Scott's alibi places him miles away from home, yet inconsistencies in the timeline of events that day have fueled skepticism. His late start to the marina, the lack of concrete evidence confirming his fishing trip, and the vague timeline provided by the prosecution make his alibi a central point of contention. Critics were quick to point out Scott's lack of emotion and his affair as indicators of guilt. However, behaviorists argue that there is no universal way to grieve, and that his demeanor should not be considered an indicator of guilt. The reliance on behavioral evidence is a contentious aspect of the case, with experts divided on its interpretation. The media gave a negative portrayal of Scott Peterson, significantly influenced public perception, and potentially the jury. From sensational headlines to 24/7 coverage, the case against Scott was tried in the court of public opinion long before reaching a courtroom. The forensic evidence, or lack thereof, is a focal point for those challenging Scott's conviction. Key issues include the absence of Lacey's DNA in Scott's boat, the questionable interpretation of hair evidence found in the boat, and the debated state of Lacey's remains, which some argue does not support the timeline of her death as presented by the prosecution. Several witnesses reported seeing Lacey walking the dog after Scott had left, contradicting the prosecution's timeline. These sightings, largely dismissed during the trial, have been revisited, suggesting the possibility that Lacey was alive after Scott left for the marina. Alternative theories have emerged, including the possibility of a robbery gone wrong or the involvement of a satanic cult, both of which were reported in the vicinity of the Peterson home around the time of Lacey's disappearance. These theories challenge the prosecution's narrative and suggest other potential suspects. Scott Peterson's legal team has filed numerous appeals, citing juror misconduct, new evidence, and the mishandling of forensic evidence as grounds for a new trial. These appeals highlight the ongoing debate over the fairness of his trial and the reliability of the evidence used to convict him. In the age of social media, the court of public opinion is more influential than ever. Online forums and social media campaigns have both defended and condemned Scott, showcasing the divisive nature of the case. Comparing the Peterson case to other high-profile convictions reveals a pattern of reliance on circumstantial evidence and media influence. These comparisons raise important questions about the criminal justice system and the role of media in shaping outcomes. Throughout the appeals and media spectacle, the heartbreak of Lacey's family remains. They have endured unimaginable pain, and their perspective is a crucial reminder of the human tragedy at the heart of this case. True crime enthusiasts have taken an active role in dissecting the Peterson case, contributing to a vast online archive of analysis and speculation. These communities continue to play a significant role in keeping the case in the public eye, advocating for justice for Lacey and Connor. This has been Tabitha Crane reporting. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you for watching another episode of Darker Things. Today, we studied two parties: Jodi Arias, who was clearly guilty, and Scott Peterson, whose guilt is in question. We should strive to have our judicial system be what it says it is, and that's if there's a reasonable doubt that there should be no conviction. We give you the information, we let you make the decisions as to one's presumed innocence or guilt. But remember, one is always presumed innocent until determined guilty. Until next time, I'm your host, Doug Duncan, with a reminder that once you enter the dark, you may never be the same.